This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I want to discuss a quote I saw ages ago that I really liked, and one that I sort of came across again in thought and conversation last week. However, I think it's extremely useful and beneficial for many reasons, and one of those reasons could be the idea of thinking that if a bad thing was to happen, that I would, make sure that I could do whatever I could in that time to really rise to the occasion, so to speak. But the issue is that we don't rise to the occasion, very rarely. And if we do, it's by luck. You see, we don't rise to the occasion, we fall to our training. We will always come back to default, things that we've conditioned time and time again. And this is powerful to understand because it really allows us to define what training is. When things get tough, we will start to transition into what our training has been. Now, this is physical, absolutely, but it's also mental and emotional. And the training that we put into all three of those areas make a massive difference for all of this. And so our ability to make sure that we are training ourselves at the stage that we're at, but also building up to a stage to deal with the stress and stimulus of real life and extreme events allows us to learn how to deal with those extreme events, whatever extreme means for you, when and if they do arise. And this is one of the key things is that, when the occasion does come, we get to fall to our training. Another way to think about this, and I think it's probably a little bit more maybe bloodshot, maybe, I don't know, but it's this idea of bleed in training and sweat in war, or something along those lines. Train hard, fight easy. It's that kind of stuff. And so the key thing here is I'm not sort of thinking everyone should go bleed in training tomorrow. It's just making sure that what we're training for is allowing us to really level up our default behavior, our default thinking, and our default choice and awareness of our emotions. And this becomes a really powerful thing. And the reason why it becomes such a powerful thing is that for all of us, it means that every single day we're training, because we are training, whether we realize that or not. We're physically training or kind of doing the inverse of that, right? Where we are conditioning ourselves for not training, right? So we're either conditioned or deconditioned, right? Unconditioned, non-conditioned, however you want to say it, doesn't matter. But we're in a condition. So that's irrelevant. We're conditioned no matter what. Now, we're also conditioned with our thinking. We're conditioned with our thinking no matter what. And this is where people go, positive affirmations don't work for me. Now, I'm not saying that we should sit in the car and yell out positive affirmations for ourselves. I think there's probably better ways to go about that. What I am saying is that the people that often think that positive affirmations don't work for them actually are listening to the negative affirmations, but they call it the truth, right? Well, that's the reality. It's like, no, that's your reality because you've reaffirmed it to yourself so fucking much that that's how you see your reality. Yes, the beautiful parts of all this. So this is where we look at conditioning, is that we really want to make sure we have this integrated approach to how we condition ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally. It could be socially, it could be anything, and continually changing the environment and the stimulus. One of the ways that we do it with the gym that I own is called general physical preparedness. And so we're helping people prepare for any general physical tasks that they may encounter outside of the gym. Whether carrying something, picking something up, any form of conditioning, whatever it may be. General physical preparedness. And we don't specialize in anything except for GPP, general physical preparedness. Now, what would general physical preparedness be without training your mind? Without mental, right? General mental preparedness. GMP, right? To be able to make sure that we're dealing and understanding what's in my control, what's out of my control, right? What should I give my time to? What should I not give my time to? What's a healthy boundary? What's not a healthy boundary? And so we start to really be able to distinguish all of this. And this is how we deal with the human. And I've had this conversation so much tonight. Like my business, for example, and this is what I encourage every single person in the fitness industry to move towards, it's I'm not in the health industry teaching people. I'm in the people industry teaching health. Now, what that means is that I start with the individual. I start and deal with the person, the actual person that's in front of me, rather than trying to deal with the goal or the program or something abstract to that person. You deal with the person because that person has a subjective side. We need to, as an industry, but as a society and a community, encourage people to truly build self-awareness around how their thoughts and emotions affect their life, right? From there, we also really encourage people to understand their physical body, right? How they move, their behaviors, their skill sets, what they're good at, what they're not so good at, what they can work on, what they don't need to work on, all of these things, right? So they can gauge a really strong kinesthetic awareness of their body, this body literacy, right? This body awareness. Now, you associate those two things, you put them in a good community, a good support structure, a good support system where you don't have to say there's no judgment, right? Because there actually isn't. In every single gym is judgment. There's judgment. If someone goes, hey man, that was really good, it's a fucking judgment. So just forget about that and think more about how it's supportive rather than saying it's non-judgment, because you're creating the idea of judgment. Just fucking forget about it and say it's supportive and focus on being supportive. Because we forget that judgment's both the perceived to be positive and negative. They're both judgments. If I'm like, hey, you look really good today, it's still a fucking judgment. It just feels nicer, right? And so the interesting thing through all of this is really allowing ourselves to build the individual. This is for you, the individual, and for the people that you interact with. Maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your nephews, maybe it's the people that work under you at work, maybe it's the people that work above you at work, maybe it's the people in your sporting team that you coach. It doesn't matter. It's making sure we deal with the individual to help them up level and develop the physical, mental, and emotional training so they can always fall to their training, which is at a high level. This is one of the most powerful things, one of the most powerful gifts we can give ourselves and those around us, because it means that this is true confidence. Hey, this is true confidence. And I spoke once again today with somebody about body confidence. And body confidence doesn't necessarily mean, in fact, I would argue against it. It's not looking in the body, kind of is, hey, not looking in the mirror and go, I'm really confident with what I see. It's knowing that you can pick something up. It's knowing that you can climb something. It's knowing that you can move something and you can use your body with confidence, because your body was given to you. It's a gift given to you. It's on fucking rent. It's on lease. You have to return it at some point, right? And it's given you, it gives you fucking shitloads of stuff, but it's given to you for you to be able to live this life through. So experience life through your body. So make sure you can do all the things that you want to do, that your training should support that. We don't rise to the occasion. We fall to our training. And we're training every single day. Every day. Because training isn't always exercise. On that note, team, I'm done. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you'd pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, jump on Mood Prep online or Mood Prep community. It's on Facebook. Once again, check out my seminar. I've got the next one up in Sydney, 21st, 22nd of September. It's Mood Prep Live. It's effectively a weekend of going over all the developmental models for anyone that's ever interested in getting greater self-awareness and emotional intelligence for themselves and those around them. Otherwise, team, I'm out. Until tomorrow, peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick and slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
Bodnerchuk coming from you here in Vancouver, Canada. I had a quick question for you today after listening to Can't Hate What You Don't Know. So my question is, if we are in this mindset of accepting people and just understanding it's just our experience of them, how do we not become just so passive in what we're doing? Meaning, what do we actually stand for? So if someone's acting a certain way, it is triggering us, sure, but do we have to have, or should we have, standards in our life for the people that are around us? And how do you do that without projecting your ideals, your vision of how someone should show up and should act? So it's a balance that I'm struggling with. How do you stand for something, but also be super accepting as well?